Okay, in this video what I'm going to do is take a look at start of injection. The start of injection maps, as you can see from all this yellow here, are many and fairly complicated. If I go back to here, this appears to be the first of the start injection maps. It looks like I've got a considerable number of similar ones, and my suspicion is partly confirmed by the fact that if I open this is a little map that's in front of these start of injection maps. If I just mouse over and look at the original values, there's the original values. They appear to show -20, 0, 18 and so on, so 78 degrees there, and the output appears to be what I assume are going to be map numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be 6 maps. Now, assuming that this is a start of injection map selector, then what we've got here presumably are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 for start of injection maps. So if we look at one of them, and I'm a little bit suspicious that that one, that one and that one and that one and that one are slightly different to this one, which is a different size. But if we assume that these are all the same, this one would be the one for the warm engine, so we'll look at that one. What we have here then is a value from -5 to 25 for when injection should start. And if we look at how we got those values, and ignore this naming up here because I suspect a lot of these names are incorrect, but the output is crankshaft angle, it's in crankshaft degrees. The factor is 0.021973, which is different to EDC17. X-axis, injection quantity, milligrams per cycle, 0.01, just like it would be in EDC16, and y-axis, engine speed, revs per minute, 0.5, as it has been in all the other revs per minute maps that we've looked at so far in this series. So that's all fairly straightforward. What is interesting here is this spread. We've got start of injection at its earliest being 25.49 and start of injection at its latest being -5.01. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what start of injection? Because what type of start of injection will start at the earliest 25.49? That many degrees before everything else. Now, I suppose the obvious thing is to say to yourself, well, the first pilot injection, so pilot injection 1, will have this number as the biggest number because it needs to start before the others do. So if this was to be pilot injection 1, that would sort of make sense. Well, if we look at, let's say, the one before, which we think is part of the same series, this one is starting at 22 and carrying on there to a start of -3. So again, we have a little bit of a problem as to when this is starting in relation to what is actually starting. So in other words, if this represents pilot injection 1, is it starting at an earliest of 22.39 or 22.41, but certainly around about 22, or is it starting at an earliest of, oh, that's about the same there, 22, so that's not too bad, or what have we got there, or about 22, so that's not too bad. So they all appear to be in agreement. It's just this one where it's starting at an earliest of about 25. So there we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 6 maps there, but the problem is, having not really known what they are for, I've now got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so another 6 maps. If I pick the last one, which is the warm engine one, we assume, this one seems to go from 23 to -4. Now, if the previous one was pilot injection 1, what's this one? Is it pilot injection 2? If we go further on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that will be number 5 of our list, -4, 23.56. Is this pilot injection 3? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 23.56 -4. Now I hope you're beginning to see the problem that we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one. Not quite so much here. Not quite as extensive there. So what do all these maps represent? And this is where we have a problem, because in some files what we might be looking at is main injection 6 maps, pilot injection 1 6 maps, pilot injection 2 6 maps, pilot injection 3 6 maps. But what we could also be looking at is main injection 6 maps, main injection plus pilot injection 1 6 maps, main injection plus pilot injection 2 6 maps, main injection plus pilot injection 3 6 maps, main injection plus pilot injection 1 and pilot injection 2 6 maps, and so on. So there are a lot of combinations that are possible, and it's made even worse when you go further in this file, because what we've got here are a number of correction maps. You can see that all these little maps here, they will all be corrections. And then having got a little bit further on, there is yet another bunch, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yet another little collection, and these seem to run from 20 to -5. So the earliest start 20 degrees, latest start -5. So these are yet another bunch, and we are left with a real difficulty here, because without a Damos, what does each group of 6 represent, assuming it is a group of 6? Is it main injection? Is it pilot injection? Or is it in fact a map which is a combination of main injection and pilot injection? And if it is a combination, which combination is it? Is it main injection on its own, main injection plus P1, main injection plus P2, main injection plus P3, main injection plus P1 and P2? So you can see how complicated this becomes. The only way to be absolutely sure is to look at a Damos, and if the Damos is complete, with luck the maps will have descriptions telling you what they are for. I don't have a Damos file for this particular file, and so it's very, very difficult to be certain what the maps represent. All you can really do is take your best guess by looking at the values in the map. In other words, if the map appears to be able to start at the earliest possible, so this has got the biggest number here, it suggests that it's going to include at least some pilot injection. And so if you look at the various bunches of maps, and you can arrange them in a sort of sequence as to when the earliest possible injection could take place, you can sometimes decide what you think that map represents. But very often, and I think you'll find if you look at this file it's a bit like that, very often these numbers are so similar in the different bunches of maps it's very difficult to untangle which is which. I've had a little look, and the values given in the first 4 bunches of maps, the first 24 maps, are all so similar that it's very difficult to work out what they actually represent. Now, it would be nice to think that that was all there was to this problem of start of injection, and you can see here that what we've got are yet more correction maps on top of the maps that we don't fully understand. Excuse me. But in fact it just gets worse. So what I'll do is I'll stop here and I'll come back in a moment to look at further injections.